Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hello and welcome to the A24 project here in the Nerd Party Network. I'm Lee Hutchison, and Dallas King and myself make our way through the A24 filmography and along the way bring you interviews with the talent involved in front of and behind the camera. In this episode, I welcome actor Brittney Rodriguez, who plays June in Sean Baker's Red Rocket, as we continue our coverage of the film. Mikey Saber, played by the award-winning Simon Rex, returns home to Texas City after a 17-year absence and gets himself a gig as a dealer with a weed business run by Leondria and her daughter June, who also acts as an enforcer. Thanks so much to Brittney for joining me, and I hope you too will enjoy the episode.
I'm doing this tonight. You're probably gonna start.
We're kind of familiar with the stories of how Sean Baker finds talent to star in his films, and you joined that list. I read that Sean came across you while you were walking your dog. How were you approached, and what was your reaction?
So I think we kind of spotted each other at the same time. We were kind of crossing each other at an intersection, and I was going this way around the block, and he was coming this way. So we ended up meeting again. We ended up crossing each other's paths again. And my initial reaction, I was a bit, I kind of was cautious because it was a random vehicle approaching me, and it's in the height of COVID. And I'm just in a neighborhood that, you know, not too many vehicles are going to pass you and just stop you and be like, hey, what's up? So I was cautious at first. It was different.
And when he kind of started to talk to you, what was his sort of pitch to kind of firstly put you at ease and then sort of like convince you to get involved in this project?
So initially he introduced himself as a independent film director. And the way he came off, he was very friendly. So it was easy for me to want to see what he was talking about. And so he ended up handing me two different cards. Actually, I have those cards. I could show you. So he ended up handing me two different cards. This one with Bunsen and Booney, his dogs. And it just gives me his information. And then he gave me a piece of a parking ticket, but it has the Florida Project on it, which
That's amazing.
I went to go watch. Yeah. And he's just like, I did the Florida Project with Willem Dafoe. And in my head, I'm like, who the fuck is Willem Dafoe? And he's like, Green Goblin. And he could see it on my face. I didn't have to say it. He could just read it. And so he's like, the Green Goblin. I'm like, oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. He's also on like Once Upon a Time in Mexico. And so I immediately knew who he was talking about. I went home. I watched the Florida Project and their interviews. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm going to love working for him. I wrote him immediately. And it kind of just went from there.
So what kind of followed next? Like you're in, do you sort of have to like formalize in terms of like an audition or kind of casting?
So we pretty much had a nice little conversation, our initial meeting. What kind of followed next was us meeting at Rayo's Bakery, and we kind of just talked a little bit more. We kind of got into a little bit of my backstory and whatnot. We had like one more conversation after that, which is where I ended up receiving the script.
And was it always the character of sort of June that he had you in mind for, or was it just sort of like, here's the script, let's see what we can kind of find for you?
It was June from the beginning. He said the way my person resonated with him, he thought of June. He thought we fit perfect together. And so it was always June from the beginning.
When you got that script, what was your kind of reaction to it? And then sort of this character?
So my initial reaction, so before I even got to fully read the script, he also gave me The Prince of Broadway. He gave me Tangerine. So I watched them just to kind of get a take on how he likes to deliver messages and tell stories. And so once I got a feel for that as well, I liked the way he told the story in the script of Red Rocket. So I immediately loved it and knew that I wanted to be a part of that as well. And so kind of my reaction to June and the way she carried herself was like, I kind of felt like I've been there before. And it almost sort of reminded me of like, basically like if I could go back in time, but keep the same knowledge I have now, what would I do differently? And that's where June came from.
That's fascinating. And do you know sort of many Junes? Is like a June a kind of common kind of character that you might see in a sort of Texas City or a Galveston?
I mean, I guess it depends on what aspects that you're looking at of June, but just June herself, there's only one.
So how did you kind of then begin to sort of prepare for the role? Obviously, you're doing your kind of research into kind of Sean's work and how he likes to work. How do you sort of prepare to kind of start work as a sort of a film actor, I guess?
Other than doing my research on Sean, I read the script a lot, and no matter how many times I would try to I guess, how I would react to these things that I would have to react to in the movie. No matter how many times I did that, that couldn't prepare me enough for me to just go in there and do it. Like, I had to just take myself, my ego out of it and perform. So nothing I could do prepared me for it. I literally had to just go in there.
Before you kind of had this whole whirlwind, kind of, this was obviously your kind of first film role, but what was your kind of story before Red Rocket?
Before Red Rocket, I lived the typical life of a young woman. I went to school. After school, I tried college. I learned that it wasn't for me. I ended up working in the refinery for several years. And a little bit before Red Rocket, I ended up getting laid off, and it was in the height of the pandemic. And so pretty much I was just living day by day. I can't really say like I was on a particular path, like, oh, this is where I'm going and this is what I'm going to do. I can't say that. So
had you ever been sort of curious or interested in sort of acting and performing prior to kind of this opportunity?
No, I'm very dramatic, but I've never just thought, hey, I'm going to be an actor one day. So no, this is all new to me.
Does that feeling of being it new to you, does that sort of bring kind of nerves or excitement before you sort of start filming?
Oh, definitely. I was nervous, but with working with such a great cast, and the crew itself, they made it very welcoming, and they made it easy for me to let go of my ego and just drop some of those nerves and be able to do what I did. But it was very nerve-wracking. Like, for me to be a first timer, and we were filming on film, like, there's ain't no take, hey, redo the take. You only got so much that you could do. So I didn't want to be the reason that Red Rocket completely tanked. So it was a lot of nerve and weight on my shoulders.
Was there a moment once you sort of started acting that sort of that fear almost kind of came off your shoulders and you felt, oh, I can do this. I'm not going to tank this movie whatsoever. I belong here. I fit in.
Yeah. So I kind of got thrown into a chaotic scene. That was the first thing that I'd done. So after doing something so chaotic, it was very easy to kind of just say fuck it.
When you say chaotic scene there, that could apply to so many of your moments in the film. Could it be the ending? Could it be the start? I think chaos seems to follow you and Mikey Saber around in this movie.
Yeah, it kind of does quite a bit.
Did sort of taking on a sort of acting role kind of present any sort of logistical challenges with work and life at that moment for you?
Not necessarily. Being that it was in the height of COVID, I was laid off, so I wasn't working. It didn't affect work, and my home life. I actually had already been like kind of under a rock, what I would call it, for quite a period of time, and so for me, it was nothing different. Nothing really changed. So.
You spoke about that sort of chaotic first day. What was like your kind of typical first day like as an actor? Was it like an early shoot, kind of makeup, does costumes, etc.?
My typical first day, I definitely felt like a student and a teacher, because I was so interested in learning what they had going on, the ins and outs of how they were going to make this happen. And they were so willing to teach me. They were open to answer any questions I had. It was a nice first day. And that also ended up leading me to be able to do other things in the film other than just acting. So it was, for me, I had a great day of learning and being able to teach them, because they'd want to fact check, hey, is this accurate? Does this sound right? Would someone from around here say these things? What would someone from around here wear? So it was just a whole bunch of back and forth collaboration on my first day.
Yeah, you certainly played a role, obviously, behind the scenes. Can you talk a little bit about that and sort of, how that almost kind of came about and sort of your impact on the movie as well?
So a lot of the things, they pretty much, Sean did a lot of research, and a lot of it was fairly correct. So there were some things that, like, it was just a slight difference. So it wasn't too much of it, but it would be able to be like, we wouldn't say this, we'd probably say it like this, or, he wouldn't wear that. he'd wear this instead. And it was just tiny details because Sean did a lot of research and he did it pretty well. So
if you're someone that's like watching Red Rocket, like a repeat viewing or a first time watch, is there a line or a moment that you kind of look at and go, I contributed that line, that came around from sort of my fact check, for example?
One of the things where they were talking about the way Mikey speaks, and they're pretty much saying that, why don't you sound like you're from here? Why do you sound different? And I can't remember the exact line that they were going for or they were trying to say, but I'm like, to me, it was just coming out weird. And I end up saying, you sound brand new. Like, and so that's the line that they end up using in the movie. You sound brand new, which was said by Judy Hill, who plays the role of my mom.
And I suppose that's one of the few moments or lines where it's like, it's giving the exposition of like, what, you know, we so much of it's left as a mystery or your own interpretation as an audience, whether it's like children or what happened in Los Angeles. I suppose that's one of those few moments where it's like they've got to convey information about, well, how does he not sound like he's almost from Texas City, I guess?
Yeah, definitely.
Can you sort of talk about sort of like the house that you kind of shot at? Like it's that sort of type, and it's that type of home and authentic setting you wouldn't get in sort of many films. It really does feel sort of.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely did. A house like that took me back to my childhood and took me back to one of the houses that just makes me feel like home for me. And it's not often that you see something like that in a movie. So I felt like it was pretty accurate. It does feel lived in, and it brings the authenticity to the feel of it.
Yeah, I think it's also, you watch almost that sort of scene and it would have been so easy to just have it on like a porch or inside a living room. But I just love that you've got this outdoor setting that always seems to have the boxing on full blast. You've got this amazing sort of like barbecue set up in the back. It seems like a really interesting kind of place to live and to shoot as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so the backyard was cool. That's another, I'm an outside kind of girl. I love to get down and dirty. And so the fact that we were just outside, being able to watch the boxing, the way you see me just sit back and just, that's me watching boxing. I'm in it. Like, so it was another thing that made me feel at home, to where I was able to just relax, get back and give them some of my authenticity versus trying to be who I think they would have wanted me to be.
And is that a hard thing to almost do, in a way of like, you're almost feeling like you've been hired to be an actor? Do you feel you've got to like, I should perform and, you know, almost overthink, you know, body language, as opposed to, I'm just going to bring myself and be authentic?
At the beginning, yes, it was very difficult because they hired me as an actor. So I felt that I should have to be a particular way. But then I started to think about the reason that they hired me to begin with. And it was because the person that I presented to them when we initially met, which was my authentic self. And so with the help of Simon and Bree and Susie, it was very easy to give them myself versus trying to. And so, yes, it was at first, because like I said, I didn't want it to be the reason that, oh, that's not going to work. You just messed up $100,000 worth of film. So once I was able to get through that, it actually made me feel better to be able to bring my authentic self. It was almost sort of like therapy and being able to work through a few childhood traumas. Like,
and I think with like one of the highlights of the film is you and your family's sort of dynamics. What were it like to work with this group of, I would assume also kind of, you know, perhaps kind of locals, and build up that sort of shared history and that dynamic that you all share in terms of this sort of family business that you're running outside of your kind of back garden, I guess?
I love that you're able to actually see the dynamic that we share. And it kind of does feel like a family. I literally met my movie family, the day we shot. So each one, they were all strangers to me, and they were open. We all had this sense of just wanting to be a part of this project and make it work, to where we were willing to work with each other and do what needed to be done to make it happen. And so we were strangers. It was just the love that we had for what we were doing at that time that was like, yeah, look, we're going to get this done and we're going to have fun doing it. And that's exactly what happened.
Did you get moments where you could just sit and have like enjoy that barbecue in the background and watch some boxing or television after the film stopped rolling to sort of almost build up sort of that kind of family dynamic, or would it be very much like done for the day and sort of back kind of home in a way?
So we kind of when it came to filming, it was a whole bunch of hurry up and wait. So it was a lot of waiting around while they were changing scenes, and between them switching the scenes and stuff, we were able to pretty much just talk with each other. They even had like few scenes. I remember this one scene particularly. Me and Simon, we were over by the barbecue pit, and I was telling him about a drunken chicken, and that's pretty much where you stick a beer inside of a chicken and you barbecue it. And out of nowhere, I just hear the rest of the cast dying, laughing. And I'm like, bro, what are they laughing at? Because there's no way they can hear me way over here. And they're like, yeah, we can. You're mic'd up. We hear everything you're saying. And so just moments like that, it were beautiful. You just had to be there.
Yeah, you and kind of Simon Rex as Mikey and your character just bounce so well off each other. What was it kind of like to work together and produce some of sort of the comedy highlights and chaos of the movie?
At the beginning, it was kind of nerve-wracking. I was trying so hard not to fangirl over him and just start spitting different lines to him from Scary Movie. But I kind of I had to kind of like calm myself down and just bring hey, you're here for a job. And so watching him bear his whole body and just do it in a way to where it was like, I was like, well, I should be able to do it too. He's over here like exposing his entire self, and I'm just exposing a part of me. So being that we were just so open, he's a very friendly guy. Like he's an amazing person, and I love working with him. And just being able to work with him, oh man, it's a blessing. It's a blessing. I couldn't have asked to work with anybody for it to be my first time. And so how we were able to just. But I'll tell you this. I felt bipolar shooting with him, because when the director would yell cut, I'm like, yo, what's good? That was awesome. Yo, we just did some magic. But versus when he said cut. So versus when he'd be like action, I'm like, oh, I hate you. I'm going to kill you. I'm trying to put my hands around you. And I felt bipolar.
I can imagine being around sort of like Simon and this character Mikey, like it is so high energy. I can imagine it being something so exciting as an actor to kind of try and match that and kind of almost get caught in that wave of it.
Yeah, and like whenever I think of Simon, like I definitely think of Scary Movie a lot, and it's just one of them screams that he does, just like this, and that's something that I imagine in my head, and I immediately get to cracking up, and I'm like, oh yeah, I would turn into a goofball. Like it was so easy to put that mask on and just have fun with Simon. Like he made it so easy, and I'm so thankful for him.
One of my kind of favorite scenes of the movie is again another moment with sort of you and Simon, when sort of you and your brothers arrive at his kind of Mikey's mum's house to sort of take the money, boot him out the house. The scene is, we go back to again, chaotic and brilliant. What was it like shooting that scene, and was it as fun to kind of shoot as it was to watch for us?
Oh, it was so fun to shoot. It was very chaotic. We had so many happy accidents that happened within the scene to make the scene. There was even a period of time to where I bumped the camera and I completely forgot I was an actor. And I was like, I turned around to check and make sure the camera was okay. But like, I could honestly say, well, that was actually the first scene that I filmed too. So after shooting a scene like that, everything else was kind of a walk in the park for me.
You kind of shared that scene with Brenda Diaz, who's obviously no longer with us. What are your kind of memories of working with her on the film?
She was always so open to share stories. She's bright and bubbly spirited. She was a go-getter. I could definitely say that. She just wanted to have fun. She was always so bright, and she told us so many different stories, and she was so open in sharing with us. Because I'm from Texas, but we're from two different parts. So the things that she told me and just the different history that she shared with us, it was beautiful. Like that was true, authentic history that she went through that we wouldn't have gotten nowhere else had she not been willing to open up and tell us. So I thank her for that too.
Have you and the sort of cast kind of kept in touch since? I'd love to imagine there's sort of like a Red Rocket WhatsApp group chat out there.
So we do keep in touch. We talk to each other often. We send each other messages of encouragement. If we see that each other done something new, we love to congratulate each other on it and things of that nature. So we definitely stay in touch.
You kind of spoke about like shooting, obviously during kind of COVID. What was that experience like to be shooting on a sort of, a set, as it were, sort of during kind of the COVID period? What was that kind of like for you?
It was a bit chaotic having to shoot something during COVID. Being that I've never shot anything before, like dealing with COVID wasn't anything challenging for me, but shooting during COVID was a bit difficult. And then we shot with a really small crew too. So many people wore so many different hats. But I didn't really look at it that way. I just looked at it as a learning experience. And so I didn't let COVID bother me. I actually used COVID as encouragement to learn all these different things and to go harder. So for me, COVID actually, it didn't do me bad. COVID was actually a blessing in disguise for me. So,
well, some people are learning to make bread in COVID. There you are, like learning to become like a professional actor. There's different levels to this, I think.
Oh, definitely.
And how has sort of the town and kind of the people responded to the film and the attention the film has kind of brought to it?
From my point of view, there's been a ton of mixed reviews, and that's okay. Whether the audience tend to like it or not, I'm glad that they're even discussing the film. And so it's been mixed reviews, and I'm thankful that they're willing to even talk about it and go from there.
You mentioned as well, you used to be a regular at sort of the Donut Hole, which I was so happy to discover that is a real, genuine place. What can you kind of tell us about this sort of location that like only like an insider and a local would know about the Donut Hole? And what would you recommend if someone went to the Donut Hole? What's the best thing to get from that menu?
I would say something that only an insider would know. Them donuts are made fresh every morning. I would recommend a strawberry donut.
Nice. Good choice.
And I like coffee, so I'll do an iced coffee.
Kind of, how surreal was it to see, like, as you say, sort of the Donut Hole kind of represented on the big screen? And you worked at the refinery as well, almost to see places you'd hang out, places you'd work, kind of up there on the big screen and playing such key roles in a wonderful film. Driving
past the Donut Hole and the refinery is so different now. I used to drive past it like, oh man, work. And now I drive past it like, I did a movie there, I filmed there, I used to work there. Like, so it's nice to see the way they represented the Donut Hole on screen. I've been there so much, and I never would have imagined that they would have put that in there. So it's sort of like I kind of like, yo, hey, this is where I used to work. Y'all should check it out. And around they ended up finding it, they loved it, and I'm so glad it worked out because it's beautiful. It fits in well. I think it goes really good with the movie.
Yeah, it looks like something almost out of like a Wes Anderson movie in a way. Just these big lettering, this kind of simplistic design and colors. It looks really impressive. And I wonder, as like people start to discover the film and it gets out there in the world, how many people are almost going to descend on this almost as one of these sorts of tourist spots, I guess.
Right. I hope it does. I really hope they should have a special on like strawberry donuts now. Like,
yeah, definitely. I want to try some of those donut holes myself. And you obviously kind of played a part in that, sort of like Stefanik, who sort of was like the kind of production designer for Red Rocket. You sort of worked as an assistant with her. Can you sort of tell us a little bit about how you two worked together?
Yeah, definitely. So my first week working with him, I did June. I was an actor. And so after wanting to learn all these different things and just seeing how they operated, they asked me to come work with them at the Donut Hole. So I ended up working there for a week, and I pretty much just followed Steph's lead on anything she did. I wanted to know why they were doing the things they were doing and how they were doing it. And so if she needed posters up, I was up on ladders either helping her, holding her, passing, whatever she needed, I didn't mind. So she's very good with explaining or telling, this is how I want it to look, this is what I'm going for, and I enjoyed working with her. it kind of sparked up my art side again. Like, and then to be able to, it's so different from the way I normally see it. So to be able to rearrange it, it was cool. Like she's awesome.
That's amazing. You've certainly left a strong impression. I think if most people that will watch that film will always remember the design of that place, and it's fantastic you could contribute towards that.
I'm so happy I was able to contribute towards it.
And in terms of like you got to be on in front of the camera and behind it, did you sort of have a favorite side? Did you prefer being sort of June or working in sort of the production?
Once I was actually able to experience them both, I sort of felt like I kind of like acting more. I like being able to express myself, and I'm able to express myself and not really get judged for it. Like it's okay. It's like, yo, we want you to feel this way. We want you to express how you feel. And so I enjoy it. I think I actually pursue acting more than behind the camera things, but I could definitely see myself having a hand in both.
We spoke about him a few times, but obviously for Sean, what is he like as a director? How does he sort of work with actors like yourself, people that might not have been used to sort of being directed in a film? How does he sort of work with people like yourself?
So Sean's very open-minded. He's very open to hearing your opinion. He doesn't mind going with what you think if it fits in well. He doesn't have the ego to where this is my movie, I'm the director, this is the way I want it, this is how it has to be done. He's open to your opinion. He asks questions, and he actually implements them too. So it's not like he's just asking you just to ask. He actually so he has a way of speaking to people too. Like the same way he might say something to Simon may not be the same way that he will say something to me. And it's just I think he gets personal. Like he wants to know the person that he's speaking to, I felt like, and he's gonna try to relate. So I felt like he tried to relate to me in order for me to understand the way he wanted me to understand.
How do you kind of look back on your experience on Red Rocket? It's obviously been a little while now. How do you kind of look back on those kind of crazy sort of couple of weeks?
When I look back at it, I kind of almost sort of feel like it was made for me. It was just a matter of time. Everything fell into place the way it was supposed to, and I don't feel like it wasn't meant for me. So when I reflect on it, I just, it's nothing but positive thoughts. Even the times to where I might not have been my happiest, like it's nothing but positive thoughts. I never could have imagined that I would do something like that. I've been to Cannes. I've been all over the world pretty much with this one movie. And so when I look back at it, I think of it as life-changing.
It must be such an amazing feeling, because I was listening to someone talking about sort of like kind of movies like Red Rocket, where you can be like someone that goes to Hollywood and you're working in cafes for years and going through the grinds, and then there's a moment of like you're just walking down the street with your dog and someone just goes, that's who I want, and just you'd almost find it hard not to believe that moment was like made for you. Like, you almost think I could have slept in that day and not went for a walk and missed a moment of a lifetime. It's kind of amazing and incredible and slightly scary at the same time to think how moments like that kind of can happen.
Yeah, I was literally this close to not walking my dog. I had just had him for about 2 weeks, and he wasn't really fond of walking on leashes. He'd actually start flipping around and acting like he was dying. So I bought a leash that retracts, and I tried to walk him. He wasn't having it. So I was like, you know what? We're not going to do this for today. We're just going to relax. And something in my head was like, nah, just go try it again. I promise you, he's going to walk. Go try it again. And I didn't want to believe it, but I was like, you know what? I think he wants to be taken for a walk. I'm going to just try it one more time, and hopefully it works. And not only did he walk on the leash like he's done it before, I met Sean. So I almost did not meet Sean because I didn't want to go back outside today.
That's amazing. And what was it like to almost return back to normal after these kind of couple of weeks of shooting the film before sort of like the touring the world begins? What was it like to just go back to kind of almost life in a way?
It's very surreal. I definitely look at a lot of things that I have now so differently. I appreciate them so much more because it's like anything I could have, it could all be taken away. And so just coming back to normal life, I actually went back to my actual neighborhood. And I feel like there's something there for me to learn, something there for me to experience. And so I just want to be a part of my community. And I feel like I've been gone for so long, just due to personal situations, that after the movie, I just want to spend time with the people I love, and be able to cherish those moments, because if my career takes off, I may not be able to just go and sit at a place like this and speak to my family, or I might not be able to do these things again. So I definitely had to appreciate the things I got, and take advantage of the time I have with the people I love.
Yeah, that's beautifully put. And did you feel sort of inspired in that moment afterwards to kind of pursue a career as an actor, or kind of what did you sort of want to do next at that point?
Well, being able to do the things that I did in Red Rocket, it allowed me to work through a few of my childhood traumas that really got the best of me. And so now that I was able to do that, it makes me feel like something that I've been through or will go through would help somebody else. So it made me feel like, tell your story, because someone's out there listening and they might need to hear it. So it definitely inspired me to be myself more, to be my authentic self, because I feel like whatever's meant for me will come, and for me to try to go get in somebody else's lane or be like them, it's not going to work. So it definitely inspired me to want to inspire others to be yourself.
When did you get to see the film for the first time, and what was your what were you sort of feeling before you sort of started watching it, and what was your kind of reaction afterwards?
So the first time I ever watched Red Rocket was at Cannes Film Festival, which I almost missed.
Wow.
Yeah, I was supposed to leave on Monday. I didn't get my passport until Tuesday morning, and I missed different flights to even get to Cannes. I got dressed in the back of a cab because the rest of my luggage and stuff got lost in Paris. So I only had 2 suits. I went straight from the plane to red carpet in Cannes, and that's the first time watching it. So to even get to Cannes was very stressful, so worth it. Once I got there and just experienced the red carpet, I met Spike Lee. For me, I couldn't even wrap my head. I didn't have any thoughts to process. It was nothing but living in the moment and enjoying. I didn't want to think too far into anything. It was just live and experience and enjoy.
That must be like a real pressure cooker thing. Like, you hear of so many like big name directors and talent, like the nerves they go through taking a film to Cannes, because we all know that reputation like those film critics have of, if they don't like something, you're gonna hear about it. I don't know if I would have the courage or the to sit through that for the first time. So anyone that goes through that, all power to them.
Yeah, really though, and more power to. I wore sunglasses. I don't know, that may have bothered people, but for me, I wore sunglasses throughout the entire time, and it helped me with my anxiety. Like, it helped me to be able to face people, and so I wore sunglasses so much. I hope that didn't bother anybody, but it was definitely a tool to help me.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of life, isn't it? Well, like, whatever gives you like those minor adjustments that allow someone to go into the world and feel comfortable, we should always kind of respect that. And as you say, it's you're being your authentic self, and it's up to other people to kind of accept that, I think.
Yeah.
Once you sort of the Cannes experience had kind of gone and you've traveled around the world, what's it been kind of like to take the film on sort of tour, and what's it been like hearing different people around the world's reaction to the movie?
To me, I love when people are willing to either come up to me or even write me on social media and tell me what they think of the film. I especially love it when people tell me that my character inspired them, or they were able to resonate with my character, and they felt like my character represented themselves or someone they know on film. So for me, it was more empowerment. To a lot of the reviews that I got, it made me feel more empowered, and it made me enjoy what I did.
Yeah, representation matters, doesn't it? And
Yes, it
you
does.
can imagine watching 99 different versions of Red Rocket where it's your brothers, you know, these bigger men that would sort of be the kind of the muscle kind of leading things, but it's your character that gets that moment. And I really like that, because you watch that and you go, I'm not used to seeing that in a movie like that, which is great to see.
I love being able to play that part and show representation for so many people. Like I'm able to represent a large group of people, and I love that they took it well.
Do you feel that the film's sort of been overlooked by kind of the award season? It was obviously great to see sort of love for it, the Indie Spirit Awards the other day with Simon Rex winning Best Actor, but do you feel it should have got more recognition?
I definitely would have loved for it to have got more recognition, but I'm definitely happy with the different awards and the different achievements that we've earned so far, and just all the different places that the movie was able to go. I think it's a blessing. So, yeah, who wouldn't love more awards? You know, Simon possibly could have got a Grammy. You know, but it is what it is, and I'm so happy that we were able to do the things that we were able to achieve.
Red Rocket was distributed by sort of A24 in the USA. What was it like to work with them? I can't help but notice you've got an A24 cap on.
Oh yeah, A24, they're cool. They definitely took care of me everywhere we went. It was lovely.
You've obviously seen the Florida Project. Have you got any other sort of favorite films from their filmography?
Any movie that Sean's done so far, I like the way he tells stories. He makes it very easy to talk about uncomfortable topics, and so I enjoy the way he tells his stories.
I relate to that as well. Like for me, I've been to America, but I've never been to some of these places that represented, like, you know, the Florida Project. How many people go on holiday to Florida and drive past those hotels and, you know, don't ever sort of know what's kind of going on behind the scenes. He you know, whether it's Los Angeles, Texas, Florida, he seems to really highlight people that we don't know their kind of stories. They don't get that representation on screen, and you come away knowing more, for better or worse, about the sort of situations a lot of people find themselves in. And isn't that kind of what we all kind of go to the cinema to see, and to be exposed to these different worlds and characters? And I think he does it almost better than anyone at the moment. I can't wait to see whatever he does next.
Yeah, definitely. Like I enjoyed the way he was able to do this, and for me to be a part of another one of his stories, for me, it's so beautiful. There's so much blessings and beauty within all of this for me.
And what's kind of coming up next for you, Brittney?
So I've already did a short film, which I really love. It's still in the editing process. We have like a couple pickups to do. I'm leaning more towards a lot of people tell me, you know, Britt, do you do YouTube? If you don't, you should do YouTube. And so I'm kind of leaning more towards like something like a podcast, maybe some YouTube, maybe some ebooks. I definitely feel like my life is a movie. And this even before the movie. And now that I'm in one, it solidifies it even more. So eventually I would like to tell my own story. How would I tell it? I'm still figuring that out, but I would like to tell my own story because I think it's a movie, and I think it's something that somebody else will see, and it would help them with one of their own situations.
Well, I'm automatically ready to hit the subscribe button or listen and watch to that. I think it would be a fantastic thing to experience. So, and where's the best kind of place to keep up to date with sort of any news or potential kind of upcoming projects like this?
So I tend to post on Instagram a lot, which is 1000 Block Brit, 1000 Block Brit. I don't really have Facebook. I'm not on a lot of social medias, and I think that would probably be the best place. Maybe YouTube soon. So stay tuned. I'll have a little link tree description. You could click on all my different social sites.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for telling your story and your experience today. It's been fantastic to share that with you.
And thank you so much for having me and being able to allow me to use your platform to tell my story. So I definitely thank you so much.